All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another one. It is the Authority Project here, and I'm here with my new good friend here, Ash Borland, and he says he is going to help us show why visibility is more important than ability. Is that right, Ash?
That's exactly right, Brian. That's exactly right. People do not realize that it is super important.
Okay, well, we shall see. We shall see on this episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, we are here with another one. It is Ash Borland on the virtual stage with me today, and we're talking about visibility being more important than ability. How you doing today, Ash?
Very good, mate. Very, very good indeed. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm glad to have you here. This is going to be an incredible topic here. So, because I've been hearing a lot about this, and there's been conflicting things about this topic. So, let's first, before we dive in, please tell people who you are personally and then professionally.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Ash Borland. Professionally, first of all, I'm a personal brand coach. So I help people establish their credibility online, mostly experts, coaches, consultants, freelancers. I help them establish their credibility online and position themselves as experts and authorities, which is amazing for your show. It's why I was excited to be on in their space so they can achieve better things, whether that's money, whether that's more freedom, whatever it may be. Who am I personally? I'm a very weird, geeky, nerdy guy who doesn't like being told what to do, Brian. That's who I am.
Okay. I think we all have a little bit of that, right? I think we all have a little bit of that for sure. And no worries there, mate. So let's talk about your current project. You have a current project you're working on at the moment?
So I've been working on, So my current main focus that I'm working on at the moment is my podcast, which is Personal Branding Secrets, which I've been working on. It's a podcast and now moving into YouTube, which anyone who knows YouTube is it's a whole different beast. But it's been my entire it's a nightmare. Understanding podcasting seems so simple. I go back to those days now with YouTube analytics and stuff. But I've been working on the Personal Branding Secrets podcast, which I've been working on for a year now. But then I said this to you off air that I literally I studied my analytics, studied my data. It's all about understanding authority and positioning, and realized that it's maybe time to do 2.0. So I've deleted everything off it and kind of coming at with Personal Branding Secrets as an entirely different kind of podcast, which is an express podcast, and it's short and snappy, and it's an exciting thing. Just trying to find ways to reinvent the wheel, really.
I love it. I love that, man. So last but not least, I'm gonna give you this question, and it says something like this: what is your daily routine?
Oh, what is my daily routine? That's a good one. Right now, I currently have, I said to you off air, I've got a 3-month-old son. So currently, not really much. But actually, joking aside, I'm quite big on routine. I'm an early riser. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I will my morning routine will be that I'll wake up and I will go get straight up onto exercise, and I'll listen to podcasting. So a podcast before that, usually around a topic that I'm trying to school myself up on. I like to learn as soon as I wake up, and then I will create content from. So I go into creative mode, and I'll create content from 8 o'clock till about 10 o'clock every single day. So I'm a content machine, and I don't touch client work until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I won't go near anybody else's stuff until I've done everything I need to do in regards to creating my own authority. Because otherwise, as you can imagine, if I'm trying to position people as experts and authorities in their space and I don't do it myself, then it doesn't work. So I spend most of my morning and daily routine purely based around that, really.
I do like that. I do like that. I'm gonna have to copy that, man. I have to copy
Can
that.
do.
I think. Yeah. I'm gonna have to write that. I'm gonna get this replay. Get this replay and write that down. Okay, I like that. Okay, all right. Let's get into it. So let's dive into the topic at hand, Ash. What are you trying to let us know about visibility as opposed to ability?
Awesome. So this title is a title I use to cause controversy. So before that point, it's a funny thing. So as a personal brand expert and someone who works in this space, it's what we see. And I know this was something that I used to see a lot, which would break my heart. It'd break my heart that when I was in this space at the beginning, I'd see people who had great ability and they were amazing at what they did. Coaches, consultants, freelancers, they were brilliant at what they did, but they were just lacking clients that they wanted because they had poor visibility, or they were just positioning themselves incorrectly. And it started to make me really think about it. When I started to analyze it, I would think, okay, I started to realize that actually, like, the people that we know as authorities in our day-to-day lives, the people we see on TV, the people that we see who we assume are authorities, aren't actually the best. They're just the most seen and the most encountered. And that many business owners get this or coaches, consultants, they get it very, very wrong because they keep talking about how if I do the work, they will come. But actually, you should be working as much on your visibility, if not more, than you do on your ability itself. We see it all the time. In the UK, I mean, you're the US, but you know who David Beckham is, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. So I'm not exactly. Now, is David Beckham the best football player? I don't like sport. I'm not a sporty guy, but I know who David Beckham is. The rest of the world knows who David Beckham is.
Yeah.
As soon as someone says David Beckham, they think for you guys it's soccer. That's what they think straight away.
Or fashion.
He's an amazing thing. But what he is he's more visible.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of, we call it football players. It's not that for you guys, but it's soccer players. And there's loads of them that were better than him. But he was the most visible and he transcended the sport. And there's hundreds of examples.
Yeah.
But visibility, I would say, and especially in 2021 and moving into the next decade, it's getting more and more. The people who are going to win these spaces, and you're seeing it already, we said about you doing the show, you're more visible. You do it all the time because it makes you more visible. Which means you know who you are. So I would say that on that statement, ability is very important. I always have to say that. It's super important. Otherwise, you'll fail. But it's not as important as visibility, in my opinion.
I love that example because I think a lot of people going to the point where they're looking at these other people and like, I can do that. I'm just as good as this guy or this girl. It's like, why am I not up there? We all have that instinct. Like, why does he have such an engagement on his content and not me? All right, so with that, what should we be posting on social media for the most impact, you think?
So I have a very strange, I created my own method when it comes to personal branding, which is quite unique to most people's opinions, but it works. It works for me and it works for my clients, is that when it comes to personal branding, many people talk about this idea that you'll hear this idea, which I don't like, which is be authentic. Don't get me wrong before we should, but be authentic. Right. Show your real self. Be true to yourself. Add value. And that they're all amazing things and they're all very true. But the problem is, they're like impossible to replicate. Or actually, if I say to you, Brian, be authentic, truthfully, you don't know what that really means. It's like, I don't know what that means. It's a nice saying and it feels lovely, but to be able to, if you come in as a consultant and I say to you, all right, Brian, pay me a load of money and just be authentic, mate. That wouldn't really, it doesn't work. You need to have a tangible executional thing. So again, what I analyzed and I looked at many personal brands who were doing really well. And what I realized was these people, they become laser focused. So what should you post is this gives you the idea is these people become laser focused on one thing. And they become the go-to guy for one thing, or go-to girl for one thing. Yeah. And so when it comes to posting on social media, what should you post? It's what do you want to be known for? So where people go very, very wrong, and it's not very wrong, that's a bit dramatic, it's not very wrong, but the way they could potentially be incorrect positioning, as I said about poor visibility and incorrect positioning, is they think that everybody cares about their life, and we don't. We don't care about what anyone else is doing. What we care about is how can you help us?
Okay.
And so to position yourself as an expert, you need to deliver expert content all the time, and a barrage of like day in, day out. And it's all to do with this side. So when it comes to like that, so for example, if you wanted to be an expert in I don't know, say a business coach, and a business coach that specializes with athletes. We use David Beckham still. So a business coach specializes with athletes, being able to turn their brand into a business after they retire. That's like a really super niche.
Yeah.
That person needs to turn up 7 days a week, or not, but as many as you can.
Right.
Only talk about that thing. Now you can use that in loads of crazy, wonderful ways. You can be really creative with it. But if it doesn't align with that content pillar, if you start putting photos of your kids, of your family, the problem with it is it doesn't take you closer to being an expert in the space. Even though people,
that's very interesting. You're like the first person to ever say it like that. Because I hear some people say the exact opposite.
Yeah, you will
have a balance. I heard that on Russell. I watched read the Travel Secret book with Russell Brunson.
Yeah,
he talks about balance. So you don't think you lose the connection with your personal brand when you're doing that?
I don't know, and obviously I've worked with enough people to know it doesn't happen.
Okay.
What it does is, but again, all this stuff is different, and everyone can do what they want. What I'm a big believer in is subtle psychology cues. So everything I do, my personal branding theory is based in tangible stuff, as opposed to like very woo-woo holistic. Which, as much as I love that, I'm very into all that stuff. But I believe that it needs to be based in content marketing, social selling techniques, and behavioral psychology. You need to understand why people do what they do in order to get yourself in the right position. And so subtle cues is really important. So behind me, for example, as you can see, I wouldn't normally talk about it, but behind me I have this here is a video gaming stuff. I'm into video games, retro games as a kid.
Nice.
I've got here is Rich Piana, signed Rich Piana thing, which Rich Piana was a bodybuilder in the US who sadly passed away. I'm very much into bodybuilding, and I have all the retro gaming things here. There's a ton of Star Wars stickers up behind there.
Okay.
Normally, I would never tell you that. That, just to give you an example of show your personality, that's about as much as you need to see. And anyone who knows those things and knows what those things are will understand. And anyone who doesn't won't get put off because I haven't gone, look at my life. And this is the issue with it. Now, there is a ratio, of course. Yeah. If you ever follow me on Instagram, you will see some photos of my son every now and then. Like right now, just purely because we're in lockdown and a lot of my family members watch it as well. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So yeah, there is a balance, but the problem is people follow you for we've got to remember keeping your followers in mind, that they follow you for a specific reason. Yeah. So if I follow you, if you follow me, for example, Brian, for personal branding, and now I start posting out my workouts and what I'm eating for dinner, you probably, and my retro gaming and all that, you'd be like, what is this? I'm not following you for that. And you'll go to the one person who's more visible about personal branding only. And this is where you see all of these people. Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. I like what he does. Yeah. I think people don't fully understand what he does. But if you watch Gary Vaynerchuk, he spoke about what now we see him, and we see this idea of, wow, he's amazing. He is doing all of these different things, and we're seeing all this stuff. But he's done it for like years. Yeah. He just spoke about wine forever.
Yeah.
To build an audience.
Right. So that's so amazing, because I there are people on Instagram that follow, like Tony Baker comes to mind as a comedian, and I go to his I specifically go to his profile to laugh. I'm on there just to be there. I don't want any other stuff on there. You're right. I don't want to, of course, talk about your kids, but the main part that he does is just like, you're coming here to see my voiceovers of my cats. Or whatever animals he's gonna impersonate. So this is spot on. I love what you're saying. So, do you believe that that's where people should start if they're like really like, okay, I'm gonna really start to do this thing, like really focus in on what you do, and then have that smaller ratio, especially when they're starting. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So, my mentor that I work with, who's a behavioral psychologist, he always says to me, they'll come for the content and they'll stay for you. And this is really interesting. So when you're starting, what people get a common mistake, and it's absolutely fine. Every mistake in the book I've made, every single one. I
Yeah.
told you at the beginning, I'm deleting my podcast because I made a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
People, when you're starting out, it's actually quite easy to start. It's easier than people think, is what it is. Is if you pick one thing and you talk about your one thing that you want to be known for, I actually can promise you, like I would happily say, if you do that and you commit your time to not, the hard bit is staying on topic.
Yeah.
If you don't go off topic, you do that for a year, I promise you, you will be in the top 5% of your industry. I promise you that people will think you are, like, because what happens is it's like a razor sharp knife, and it cuts through all the noise. Now it'll take about 6 months for people to notice you. You probably haven't it now. The sheer volume. It'd be interesting to hear the sheer volume that you are putting out with this podcast.
Yeah.
Will make people go. At first, they'll be like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And then what starts happening is they'll go, I want to be on that show because he's doing something. And I don't know what it is, but he's doing something. It's the same every single week.
Yeah.
And it happens. And then what happens is you build a following. So absolutely, it's very easy. Just pick one. Easy in theory. It's just like it's really easy to keep your bedroom or your living room or your house tidy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, is it? It's very difficult.
Right.
So it's a similar concept.
Yeah, we have somebody who says he has a question. Go ahead. I'm not sure what I'm gonna butcher your name. I think it's Piyush or whatever. If you have a question, go ahead and we'll try to work it in. No problem at all. All right. So should we be concerned about the amount of followers? Because this is a big thing. Because there are marketers who say that it doesn't matter, but doesn't matter really. But at the same time, they tout how many followers they've obtained in 30 to 60 days. Look at me, I'm at 50,000 followers. Da, 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 da. So I can see level of achievement in that. I understand that. But should we be concerned with that in the bigger picture?
The answer is no, we shouldn't. You're very right. Like it's really interesting. Again, there is merit in it. One of the things I talk to people about that used to frustrate me with this industry, with the marketing industry and the branding industry, is this exactly what you said. This don't focus on followers, don't focus on likes, don't focus on these things. And then they would brag about the fact they got 2 million followers, and and then I'd get they come on my show and their bio would say, "My name is Joe Blogs, and I have over 500 million views." I'm thinking, okay, the truth is, it shouldn't matter, but it does matter. And when I work with people, I'm a big believer in just try not to focus on it, because if you focus on the vanity, it's a vanity metric. If you focus on the metrics, you're going to depress yourself, if I'm really honest, because it's very hard to get traction. But it's a flywheel effect. The more you will gain, the more you will gain. It's really weird. Like it's silly. It sounds, and it's all to do with Cialdini's influence principles and what the social proof. People tend to follow people who they think other people follow, and so it's why it gets easier as time goes on and more. And then so absolutely it does matter, but it's not as important as you think. It's one of those things like if you chase money, it'll run away. But if you chase what you enjoy, then the money will chase after you. It's a very similar thing. I find that if you do your research, stay on target and don't think about followers and likes and metrics for like a year. Again, it's about bracketing this time as a realistic thing. When I work with someone, we do an initial 8-week block. Okay. And I always say to these people, like, at the end of these 8 weeks, you're going to hate me, because you will have got nowhere, because it's a year-long process.
Right. Okay.
But the 8 weeks allows them to really just educate them as to how I'm thinking. And once they do it, they're like, okay, I get this now. This is replicable. It's scalable. It's simple to do in theory. Yeah. And that's something that I would say with the vanity metric, it's not as important as you think, but it does have a bearing, because if you have 2 million followers or whatever, I'm just doing some massive number, then it's easy to get from 2 million to 3 million. It's a lot easier to get from it's quite funny that I'd say it's probably easier to get from 2 million to 3 million than it is to get from 0 to 1,000. Yeah. Because you have social proof. Yeah. So don't focus on it too much, but it will come. If you do the right thing and you stay on target, you'll gain it anyway.
Awesome. And again, if the people who want to ask the question, go ahead. and we'll get it on there. But I want to ask you some if you can provide for us like some how-tos about how to post. How should we be posting? Are we going? I'm just picking Instagram because it's in my mind. Are we doing a regular post? Are we doing the reels? Are we doing one of those the picture, whatever? I don't even know what they call it.
The carousel. It's just a scrolling picture, isn't it? Right. They just like have a fancy name.
Right. So how should we be going about that when we start?
So you can go deep into the analytics of like which one hacks the algorithm better, like for example, there's tons of that.
Right.
Carousels do really well for that reason because it's to do with interaction. So every time you swipe, that's why you see a lot of people with 10 carousels. Truthfully though, I think it's whatever. A great advice was given to me by a marketer down in the UK called Bob Gentle, and he's an amazing guy, and he has a brilliant podcast. And he said on his podcast, he said, pick the thing you enjoy doing because for the first 3 years, you're going to be the number one fan. And it really stuck with me because I think it's very right. The truth is, how do you feel your brand and your personality and your authenticity, as awful as that, I know I said it before, but like that, how do you feel it can be best portrayed? And I think like for myself, it's video. Like I'm a video guy. I'm a podcaster. I love podcasting, but because I'm a dyslexic guy, so I'm audio, but I love the visual creative elements of video. And so I don't really do blogs, don't really do text posts, don't really do those things because they don't resonate with me. I think the best thing to do is be consistent. So if you are going to create great carousels, you were saying about that you follow the guy for the funny videos.
Yeah. If
I follow you for the carousels, I would just do carousels because it makes your life. If you do, again, it's when you talk about design and brand design and graphic design or design in general, I know a lot of artists that the truth is it's not about how much can you keep adding to make it better. It's about how much can you strip away and it still makes sense. That's the key to beautiful design. So in other words, with that, and this is why I meet a lot of people who come to me and they'll be stressed out. I've got to do a video. I've got to do a carousel. I've got to do a blog. I've got to do a podcast. I've been told this. And I'll go, okay, what do you like to do? I'm like, okay, well, I really like to do a 1 minute video. Okay, then let's do a 1 minute video. Let's do a 1 minute video every single day around one tip. Okay, do that for 6 weeks. And how do you feel? Well, it's actually a lot easier. Okay, post it everywhere. It's a lot easier. So I would say like the tip with that's my non-marketing, non-correct answer, if you know what I mean, is that everyone will tell you that I'm a big LinkedIn user, for example, and LinkedIn doesn't like video right now.
No, they do not.
They do not, as you know, they do not like video. Like they want text. They want text-based posts. Now I can tell you why that is. I know why that is it's to do with supply and demand. They wanted video, so everyone gave video. And then there was too much video and not enough text. So now they're going to reward text over video. And it's this balancing act. But the problem is, if you think about the type of messages you're trying to get across, is if you change your content to the algorithm, that's not very authentic. Then we talk about it. So I would say that, stick with what your heart, cheesy it sounds, stick with what your heart and your gut tells you that you enjoy the most. And the thing that you'll do when you wake up in the morning on the days you don't want to do it, and you'll still do it. And that's what I would do.
Awesome. I love that. I like how you express the sense that the authentic self is something that we should really, really investigate. Because I tell people like, if you were to look at my authentic self, you would be bored out of your mind. Because I'm an introvert, and I'll be just like, okay, you don't want to see this authentic self. You really want to see the best version of me. So do you think of that when you tell people like to come to do your best self instead of just coming as you are? Because I've seen a lot of people try to just do their authentic self, and it's a mess.
It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. You know what, Brian? You couldn't literally make this up. That the conversation I was having with a friend of mine before this show, because I had an hour, and I said my wife put my son down,
Okay.
and I said exactly this. We were chatting about this on Zoom, and I said, my background originally, before I got into all of this stuff, I'm a performer. I was a singer, actor, dancer, West End stuff.
Nice.
And the truth is, I'm an introvert. I am currently sat in a dark studio with no windows, and I spend my entire life looking at a computer screen and talking into a camera. I don't socialize with people. I'm not naturally that, but when I'm on camera, I am a performer, and I know what to do, and I know what to say, and I bring the best version of who my audience needs them to serve them. From using all of my own, it's like a method actor, using all of my own experiences to bring the best value they can have. I don't lie about who I am. I don't pretend to be someone else. I've done that before, and it's tiring. So that's the truth. It's not like it's, again, I've done it, like I've worked in many different areas. When you're a trained actor, I've gone into many different corporate jobs and been the best within the best. I didn't know what I was doing, but the best, because I could mimic and I could be whatever they needed me to be.
Right.
The truth is, your authentic self, it's like the meaning of life. The authentic self is really hard. So you are a character. So the truth is, you're very right. Think about, if you are you're very charismatic on here. You can see it. You're saying you're an introvert, but you're very charismatic. You've held this audience incredibly well. You're holding and I'm quite a outspoken guy. So you're dealing with me very well. So that shows you. You think now, outside of this room, I'm not like this. I just sit quietly and watch TV. Absolutely. You're very right, and I love that you said that most people bring their authentic self, and I have to always say authentic in quotes, because they don't fully understand what it means, because it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't mean anything. And I'd have conversations with people about this all the time, and it would frustrate me when I was trying to learn about this stuff, because I'd go, I want to learn how to build a personal brand, and then you'd be authentic, and I think, okay, but I'm a miserable sod, I'm a moaning, or I was like, how is that? I was like, okay, how do I be authentic then? They go, oh, well, just be true to yourself. And I was like, okay, how do I do? And so I think the best advice is actually to be a version of yourself.
I love it. I love that. I love that so much. Okay, I'm gonna try to push all these into one last question. I know we're up against it here. So can you talk about like design and what should be in your bio, and maybe like your profile pic? All those wrapped into one bottle.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. I can do that. So your profile picture should be the same everywhere. So if you are the same on Instagram, it should be the same on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere. Wherever you are, that should be the same. The reason why it's the same is that, again, you think, and you may think, that people will recognize you, but I can promise you they won't, because they don't care. And so you have to make it's the path of least resistance. I need to be able to jump onto Facebook and go, oh, that's the same Brian that I've been speaking to on LinkedIn. I have to do that. And you can make that super easy by having a very clear, very concise headshot. Show your face in the headshot. Do not show anything else. Your headshot's brilliant. You've got up in the top corner. Again, it's great example. So people are watching that. It's very much just your head. Don't do body shots, just the head and the shoulders. Show your face. So that's the first thing with the headshot. When it comes to descriptions and bios, make it super customer-centric focused. So in other words, don't go on very much, you focus on these 4 things. I'll make it very tangible for you. There's 4 things, and do it in this exact order. What do you do? So very clearly, and these should be 1 sentence. What do you do? The next sentence should be, why do you do it? Again, 1 sentence. The next sentence should be, how do you do it? And then the next sentence should be, what is the benefit for your client? And if you want to ever see how that works, there is an example. It might not be on there at the moment, but it will. I'll put it on after this. There is an example on my website, which is personalbrandingsecrets.co.uk, I think. But like, I have it for myself, but I use it on all my stuff. Now, that is what we call a personal brand statement. And that actually, in 60 seconds, tells a potential customer what you do, why you do it, how you do it, and what is important to them. And it incorporates a couple of things, which is what we call there's a huge amount of psychology based in that about what they call a peak end effect, which is people remember the peak of the emotion and the final thing you say. The peak of the emotion is going to be why you do it. And then the final things you say should be bullet pointed into 3 reasons why it's useful to them.
Wow.
That means they'll remember the 3 reasons and what you made them feel.
Great stuff. So great stuff, man. Just great stuff. So I have one last question for you, and it goes something like this. I ask this of all of my guests.
Awesome.
And it goes like this. There are people who are watching you right now. They'll be listening to you later, and they have similar goals, similar interests. Maybe they have clients that they want to teach the same kind of things that you're doing to help them be more visible in their business, in their brand, their personal brand. Can you tell them in your own words, and I'll put you front and center, how to become an authority in this space?
Yeah. In my own words, to be an authority in your space, you need to have 3 things. There's 3 things that are super important. Get clear on your message. So clear on what you're talking about. Be consistent in delivering that message, and then give it time to grow like a plant or a seed. And I promise you, I don't even tell you that it's not even like an if. When you give it enough time and you stay clear and you stay consistent, you will be the authority. It's not a matter of if, it's 100% a matter of when.
Wow. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Great stuff. Can you tell them again where they can find you after the show, Ash?
Yeah, best place to find me after the show is check out my YouTube channel, to be honest, because I'm trying to build that.
Okay,
so
yes.
That would be the best place. And it's personal branding secrets. The YouTube channel and the podcast, they are both the same thing. The videos are the audio. It's all been done from research now, is that if you can watch it and then you might be on the run and you can listen to it. So it's all there. And there's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every episode is less than 10 minutes because I know you don't care about my life, just how much value you can get.
I love it. I love it. Everybody check this guy out. I am subscribed on your channel. So get there and subscribe and get some more knowledge from this man. He's amazing. Ash, so honored to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. People, I have one last thing to tell you, and you already know. Build it, share it, and they will come. And we're out of here. Peace, everybody.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.